Hey guys, Elegant Mess here. Today we're going to do a build guide for a new N2 Primo from Fantech. We're going to go through the install and setup. I got a new water cooling setup that we're going to go through and show you how to build that up. And still going to be using my existing i7 3770K, same motherboard, Intel DZ77, GA70K motherboard, GTX 680 4GB version from MSI graphics card. I've got a Reservoir 1000 watt modular power supply, SSD, hybrid SSD, and then another storage drive. The reservoir we're going to be using is from Frozen Q. It's the T-wires, has the helix blown through it. Pump is from EK. It's a D5 Vario, so it's got a speed adjustment on it. And yeah, we'll go through, get started, get the panels off here, and get everything laid out, start cutting some tubing, and get things set up. So I went ahead and mounted the reservoir. The back panel here, where the clips are on the reservoir that hold the glass tubing, are right underneath the caps. And because of the placement of those, they just wouldn't line up with the actual metal plates behind it. So what I did, I just went and measured it out and tapped a couple holes in the actual plate behind it and mounted the brackets right to it. And I'm doing something similar for the back plate of the EK pump on the bottom here, because there's 3 spots to be able to mount the pump in this case. Now here's the included bracket, and with the EK top on this, it changes the mounting holes, which don't line up with anything. So the included pump bracket can go in 2 positions in the back here, or it can go inside the hard drive cage with it in there or removed. Obviously none of those have worked, so at this point I'm tapping a couple of holes in the back panel right behind where the power supply will go, so you won't see it. 2 of them get screwed right into the bottom of the pump, and then 2 will bolt on that go to the bracket that I got taped up for the template. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll get started on the tubing. Okay, so pump is installed, reservoir is installed, radiator we have fitted up top, push-pull config, plenty of room for the motherboard. So from here we're going to go ahead, get the tubing cut and installed, make sure everything is seated properly, and start filling it up and leak test it. And while we're here, you can say hello to my most beautiful assistant, who is not too happy. This is my lovely girlfriend.
Hi!
You guys can thank her for the awesome case.
I can hide behind it.
Yes, it is that large. So, we're going to go ahead, get the tubing done, and we'll get back to it. Everything is installed. Pump, reservoir, water block, radiator. All the tubing is cut, fitted, compression fittings are on and tightened. So I'm going to go ahead, grab the power supply, throw it in the back, throw the dummy switch on the 24 pins so I can use that for power without having to put everything else in, fill it up, and leak test it. And we'll go from there. Hopefully no leaks, fingers crossed. Okay, so we're back with day 2. The pump, everything is all set up, and I've had it running for 24 hours just for a leak test, just to make sure everything is, you know, not leaking. And luckily, I mean, not a single leak anywhere in the loop. Very fortunate with that. You know, a lot of people have problems with it, and some people just don't. So yeah, radiator, push-pull config, EKD5 pump with the Vario speed control, Frozen Q, T-Virus reservoir, and the XSPC CPU block. So yeah, we'll get a closer look at it, and you can actually hear what the pump sounds like. So this is with the pump running at full speed. Let's see if we can get a zoom here. There we go. So Out of the pump for the loop order, out of the pump, up and around the tube runs up behind the reservoir to the back side of the radiator, out of the radiator to the block, out of the block, back into the res back to the pump. So that's the loop order I'm using. I've bled it pretty well at this point. I don't have any air bubbles in the lines. I can hear a little bit in the pump still. But the reservoir, as you can see, is holding a ton of micro bubbles. There's a couple bubbles in the line here, which are probably coming from the res. So I'm going to have to work on that a little bit. But at this point, it is bled for the most part, except for the air bubbles in the res there. Work on that. Yeah, so everything's looking good. From here, I'm going to go ahead and install the motherboard, graphics card, start hooking up the power to everything, and we'll go from there. Oh yeah, in case I did forget to mention, for powering the pump, all I did was add a dummy connector to the 24 pin for the power supply. You can find these really cheap. Some power supplies will come with them. So, got the Reservoir 1000 watt plugged in, and then the Molex for the pump, and all that's required to run it, and then just to operate the power switch on the power supply, and that, you know, you can use that just to turn the pump on and off as you go through the system. So we're going to go ahead, get everything installed here, and we'll get back to it. The system has been pretty much bleeded. I've gotten most of the air bubbles out of the reservoir. Best way to do this is just be very careful. Set the entire case on the ground as it is, you know, with just the pump and everything installed, and actually just slowly rotate the case so the air bubble that's the large air that's left in the top of the reservoir, excuse me, will come up along the side, and just slowly rotate it, and that large air bubble will help pick up all the little ones. And as you slowly rotate it, it'll just go around and collect them all and add it to the large one. Once you tilt it back up, most of them are out of it, and the rest of them will, you know, slowly work out over time. But for the time being, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that, and really shouldn't give me too much trouble on fire in regards to the temps and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get the motherboard installed. Now this is the Intel DZ77GA70K motherboard. Really nice motherboard, I like this. Intel Core i7 3770K. G-Skill Aries. 16 gigs at 1866. Actually, let's get the I/O plate in there first, huh? Because that'll probably help. Okay, that's good in place. Fitted into the I/O. There it goes. Sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera there. And that seat's really nice in there. I like that. Plenty of room in this case. This case is awesome. I'm very happy with this case. As you can see in the bottom here, as I said before, I did have to tap holes in the metal sheathing. Power supply sits here, so it's well behind the power supply, and secured it that way. Like I said, with the EK top on this, the mountings are just different and don't match up with either the bracket or the included bracket with the pump. So I had to improvise a little bit, but I kind of like the placement of this almost better. I did want to initially place the pump in the bottom here, but that's just really not an option. The three options are in the rear, and I figure if I'm going to do it for the looks, I'm not too concerned about the noise of it. My case was pretty loud as it was. So noise isn't my main concern with this. So I really like it, plus it'll help keep down the length of tubing that I'm using. Less tubing always is better. I mean, with a single loop like this, probably not too concerned with it having extensive amounts of tubing, because with the Lang D5 that's going to work really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get all the motherboard screws for the standoffs put in, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got the motherboard installed and all the screws for the standoffs are put in and secured. I went and wiped the processor and the heatsink for the water block with a little isopropyl alcohol, just to make sure they're nice and clean before we apply the thermal paste here. Just give them a nice little blow off just in case. Make sure everything's nice and dry. The isopropyl alcohol usually dries up really quickly, but just in case there's no residue, no little fibers or anything like that before we go ahead and put this on. I am using the Arctic MX2 thermal paste. I've used this stuff a couple of times now. I used to just go with the Arctic Silver 5 and never had any problems with it, but wound up getting this instead to give it a try, and I've had really good results with it thus far. So we'll go ahead and get this applied. Now I do apply my thermal paste a little differently than others. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll see that, but I usually go ahead and give a generous application around it instead of doing just like the dot in the center or the lines. I'll go ahead and drop it all the way around the processor itself. Spread it out evenly so it gets full coverage, a nice thin layer all the way around, and just let the pressure from the water block do the rest of the work. That should be enough for a good start. I just use nice firm card, help spread it out, get all the air bubbles, or make sure it's nice and smooth. Like I said, you know, everybody kind of has their own little trick or way of doing this, but this is what seems to work well for me. So just give it a nice once over. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And there we go. So as you can see, pretty nice, smooth, even coverage all the way over. And I just try to get that as smooth as possible. And then the pressure from the water block sitting over it will smooth it out and get any of the other little wrinkles out of it. And that's what I use. So far I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the graphics card installed and start hooking up the power. And also I got to put it in the disk drive as well up front. And once I get that stuff in, I'll go over the front panel. Oh, the one thing that I did forget is I'll go over installing the actual block onto the motherboard and the processor here. How the block is installed is with these 4 pins on the corners. These are a 2-stage pin. The back part here initially screws in till it's tight. This will sit against the block, and then the bottom screw is turned as well, and this will tighten the spring against it, and you do that evenly on the 4 corners of the block. in a rotating manner, kind of like you would change a tire, the nuts on a bolt, or the bolts on the tire. You know what I mean. And you know, rotate as you're going around so you get even pressure all the way over the block. So we'll go ahead and get that installed. Now the case is turned, so this is the back side where the I/O plate is. Just so you have a reference of where I'm working from here. Whatever, I'll deal with that later. So, we're going to place this right over top like this. You'll have to excuse my hands here being in the way. What I'll do is I'll go and get each of the 4 corners started, going kitty corner from one another. Again, just to make sure that there's even pressure all the way around. Okay, so those 2 can hold it in place as we get the other 2 in. And again, you're not going to want to tighten these down right away, all the way, because you're going to want to be able to move the block around a little bit just to center it. There we go. We'll get our last one in here. Tummy's growling, I'm hungry. Okay, so all 4 have at least been started, so from here you can go and adjust the block just a little bit just to make sure it's, you know, aesthetically nice and even. It should line up pretty easily, but there is a little bit of give to it, so you can kind of adjust it accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the 4 corners, going kitty corner from one another. I usually go about 2 turns per each as I go around. And I don't want to over tighten them either, but just so they're nice and snug. And then from here we'll go to the second set of the screw on it, where it's against the spring, just to make sure that pressure is nice and even. And again, going kitty corner from one to the other, and same thing, I'll give it about 2 turns, holding the top of the screw as to make sure it doesn't move. Okay, so once I get these finished up, I'm going to go ahead, put the graphics card in, and we'll get back with hooking up all the power and front panel and all that stuff. Motherboard's in. We went over installing the CPU block. Graphics card is all good. DVD drive is in. All the hard drives have been put in the back. So just going to go ahead here and hook up our 2 6-pins for the graphics card, our 8-pin up top, 24-pin. Okay, so we've got everything hooked up, and it's running. The only thing that really gave me any trouble was the PWM fan hub on the back. For some reason, I used a different Molex, and you know, still same result. Nothing was coming from it, regardless of how I hooked it up. So I had to bypass that and use a bunch of Molex connectors, which sucks in regards to cable management. I don't even want to show you the back yet. I got so much to do back there. But so far, everything else is running. Seems to be working well. I did have a problem with one of the sticks of RAM as well. It was reading it as a bad stick in any of the DIMM slots. So I put it in my roommate's machine and it ran fine. So I switched from DIMM slots, 2 and 4 to the DIMM slots 1 and 3, which should be your secondary set of RAM, and it works fine. So I'm not sure. It was just giving me a 3 beep code, which is obviously a memory error. So I don't know, it's working. So I'm going to do up some cable management and get everything set up and see how it looks, and we'll go from there. Okay, welcome back. So everything's all set up, everything's installed, reinstalled Windows, got everything running properly. Water cooling is good, all my temperatures are good, definitely quite a bit lower. I'm under load, about 10 degrees cooler, so that's really nice. And as you can see from the size of the 600T to the Nth Primo, there's quite a bit of difference, which is expected going from a mid-tower to a full tower. The Corsair 600T is one of the larger mid-tower cases on the market, and the Nth Primo is same for its class of a full tower. It's one of the larger ones on the market. Compared to the Corsair 900D, I think it's a half-inch shorter and a half-inch shorter in height and length, I believe. So it's pretty close, but the inside for the motherboard tray, due to the interior layout, it's a little bit smaller, but it'll still fit any extended ATX motherboard. It won't fit the XL motherboards, which I believe the Corsair 900D will. But that's not a problem for me. I'm just using a regular ATX motherboard through Intel. So we'll go ahead, I'll put them side by side to give you a good comparison, and then we'll go through a little overview of how everything looks set up. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite a bit of difference between the sizes of the case, and very happy with it. So if you're considering either of these, actually we'll be selling the 600T at this point, as I no longer have any use for it. So I do believe the Fanatec Nth Primo will probably be one of the last cases I buy for quite a while. So I'll go ahead, get the cover off, and we'll go over the interior. Okay, just for a reference, this is how everything looks in the dark. I have yet to reinstall my custom sound activated LED. I'm going to have to order some new LED strands due to the fact that this is quite a bit larger, and they're all custom fit and cut to go around all the windows and motherboard tray and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to order some more LED strands, and I'll use the same controller and everything that I had for the previous setup, but I'll probably do another video for that as well. So we'll get the case open here and take a look. Okay, here's with the side panel off in the dark. As you can see, I got the Frozen Cube Reservoir, also nicknamed the T-Virus, due to its look comparatively to the Resident Evil T-Virus, which looks really well. I really like it. I still do have a couple of small air bubbles in here that I've yet to work out, but other than that, I've got the loop bled really well. Everything is running nicely. This is the XSPC UV blue tubing. I'm just using regular distilled water, as you could tell from the beginning of the video, installing the cooling. I do have two UV cold cathodes, one behind here and one in the bottom. The LED strip here on the left is not UV reactive, but it does help with the lighting, so I think it looks pretty nice. Have some anti-kink coils on it, not that I really need it due to the simplicity of the loop, but I do like the look of it, and aesthetics is important to me. Whether you think I'm vain or not, doesn't really matter. I think a computer should look nice. So we'll go ahead and get the lights on here and continue. Okay, so with the lights on, it still gives off a very nice look. So get a look inside here. Graphics card wise, I'm using a MSI GTX 680 4GB version. This does have an aftermarket cooler on it. So I can get you a look at that. It has UV blue fans on it. That's the Gelid Icy Vision version 2. Great cooler, very easy to install. Not a huge difference between the cooler that came on the MSI, although it's not a reference cooler. There was a couple of degrees difference, but you know, probably not necessarily enough to warrant the purchase. But it wasn't that expensive. I believe it was only like 30 bucks, so I'm still very happy with it. Motherboard is the DZ77 GAL 70K Intel motherboard. Intel Core i7 3770K, overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. 16 gigs of G-Skill Aries 1866 RAM, just with the regular profile on it. The block is the original CPU block from the Raystorm, as well as the radiator. So I kept the block and the radiator and upgraded the reservoir and pump. The pump, look at it, is the EKD5 Vario speed pump. So on the underside of it, you can't really see very well, it's a little dark in there. It just has a little knob on it that you just turn with a setting of 1 through 5 depending on the pump speed. Noise wise, this is at full speed, so getting an idea of what it sounds like. I do have, as you can see, 240mm fans in the bottom included with the case, another 140mm in the back included with the case, two more 140mm UV blues included with the case, and then on top I've got 4 XSPC, or actually no, I've got 2 XSPC fans on the bottom in push, and then on the top I've got 2 of the sickle cell, Cooler Master sickle cell fans that are blue on the top. So all in all, I'm very happy with this build. Again, with the power supply mounted in the rear of the case, it gives you such a clean look. Very happy with it. Again, I did have to mod the mounting for the water pump as well as the reservoir. And as you can see right where the graphics card is, I did have to do a small cutout on the reverse tray that holds the reservoir. But again, I'm more than happy to do things like that just to make it physically appealing. Everything seems to be working very well. Nice clean look on the front of the case with the blue strip that goes all the way around the top there. And on the back side, there's still room for another 240mm radiator here, as well as breathe holes for fans. And then there's also another one in the back where you can see the power supply is mounted horizontally versus vertically. So okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment box below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rate, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. And thank you everyone for watching. Again, thank you to my lovely girlfriend for getting me this case. And a big thank you to the guys over at Frozen CPU for giving me a hand, and those guys are very knowledgeable. If you guys even just have questions, just give them a shout. And they've always been real good to me. I love being able to go there and walk through and see how everything is, and they're a really nice group of guys. So a big thank you to them as well, and Happy New Year to everyone. Thanks.